First shots with the RIA 5.0. This is a very unique pistol. It's got a square barrel. So we're gonna see how this thing runs. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today I'm bringing you the RIA 5.0E from Rock Island Armory. This might be the most unique gun I've ever had on the channel. And first of all, I want to thank Guffey's Gun & Pawn for loaning me this pistol for this video. It's my local gun store. Everything that you see behind me, as long as pretty much every other gun that's been on this channel, has come from Guffey's Gun & Pawn. I've been to a lot of gun stores, and I think that they are the best gun store in Southern Idaho. And so I just want to thank them for loaning me this for review. But this might be the most interesting pistol that I've ever shot. It's like a cross between a CZ75, a 2011, and a Glock. I mean, look at it. We're going to get really deep into this. If that's interesting to you, make sure you're subscribed, and let's begin. I am already very impressed. The first shots went well. This thing is definitely a shooter. So we'll try some drills. You may notice that things look a little bit different at Sawtooth Tactical today. We just got a new background from Hold Up Displays, and I just finished getting it put together right before filming this video, and I am very excited about it. Besides that, I've got a new microphone coming later this week, so production value is about to skyrocket. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I want to make these videos as high quality as I possibly can. And that also starts with the stuff that we make videos about. And this RIA 5.0E it's actually a pretty amazing pistol. So I didn't do any research on it before I took it to the range because I just wanted to get my own feel for it without hearing what anybody else had said. And I was actually very, very impressed with it. Then I did a little bit of research before this video just to see, and a lot of people seemed to think it was kind of a weird feeling gun to shoot, and it is different than anything else that I've shot, but it's also really, really good. I felt as confident with this as I do with my Prodigy, and I shoot my Prodigy better than pretty much any other pistol. It's big, it's heavy, it's accurate, and it's got a really good trigger. We'll do some trigger pull gauge tests in a little bit, but it breaks at 3 pounds. I've already tested it a few times. It does have kind of a long take up, but it's really light and smooth. You can definitely feel the wall. Push a little farther and it breaks. It's not as crisp as a 1911 or a 2011, but I mean, it's a really light, really easy trigger to manipulate. And while it might look like a striker fired pistol, it's not. This is actually hammer fired. If you watch when I pull the trigger, there is an internal hammer. So you might have also seen there the optic. So this is a brand new optic as well from Holosun. This is the 507 Comp Ronin. It has a huge window and it's got a donut of death reticle like an EOTech, which if you guys have been following the channel, you know how much I love that type of reticle. I think especially for quick close-up shooting, it makes it very, very easy. So this pistol, this optic, everything about this setup was very easy to shoot well, especially for it being my first time ever shooting this gun. I feel like I did pretty well with it. I ran some drills. I shot some, 50-yard back distance, some up close and fast stuff, and it all went pretty well. So we're going to dive deep into this gun, but before we do, let's just have a quick word from our channel partner. This video is sponsored by Aura. Aura is peace of mind in a world that is so much online these days. Every time that one of you guys clicks the first link in the description and signs up for aura.com/sawtooth-tactical, you help me fund this channel to be able to bring you guys new cool stuff to show. What does Aura offer you? Well, for one, if you use that link, you get 2 weeks free trial. That's 14 days, and it is only $12 a month after that. And for that $12, like I said, you get peace of mind. What they do is that they go online and they find data brokers that have your information, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf. And then scammers, spammers, all these things online that want to take advantage of you can't get a hold of your information anymore. I've been using it now for months, and it's really helped me out quite a bit. I'm one of those people that really gets sick of getting spam calls, spam emails, all this stuff all the time, and I don't get it anymore ever since I've been using Aura. It is well worth the money, but you also get a lot more than just opt out from data brokers. You get a VPN, home title monitoring, password manager. Basically, all of the stuff that your online security, they just take care of all of it for you. It's super easy to set up. It takes like minutes, and it hardly costs you anything. Think about all the other things that you spend more than $12 a month on. This just, it's nice to not have your information out there anymore and to not have to worry about that stuff anymore. So check out Aura, use my link. You get 14 days, 2 weeks free if you use that link. Again, that's aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. I really, really love Aura, and I think you will too. That second bill drill was not very good, but it's the first time I shot this pistol or this optic. This is the Holosun 507 Comp Ronin. It was pretty sweet. When I said that it seemed to me like a cross between a CZ75 or a Shadow 2, a Glock, and a 2011, let me explain what I mean by that. So CZ75, because of the internal slide rails, which makes for less reciprocating mass on the slide, and it really felt very little recoil compared to most handguns that I've ever shot. And that's due to a number of things. It has a different operating system. The locking block is actually up front, and as you can see, it has a square barrel. I mean, how often have you seen a square barrel? Because I don't know if I ever have. Square barrel, internal slide rails. It's got window cuts in the slide where the front slide serrations are, which are totally usable. And in fact, the only serrations I used the whole time, because of course, you know me, I'm gonna have an optic on any gun that can take it. Speaking of that, it does have an optics plate for an RMR cut, along with a couple other plates in the box as well, and we'll go into that in a minute. But going back to that low recoil, it's got a full dust cover, an aluminum frame, of course, steel slide and barrel, and then a polymer grip module that apparently, from what the research I've done, is modular like a 2011. Although I'm not sure that there are any aftermarket grip modules made for this gun yet. But at the same time, I felt like the ergonomics were pretty good. This texture is very aggressive, and I didn't really feel it moving around in my hand at all. You can get very high up on the gun. The bore axis is extremely low. If you look where the web of my hand is, and how short the slide is, and the barrel being right there, I mean, you can get a very good high grip on this gun, which makes it very easy to control recoil. Now, it has no manual safety and a very light trigger. So apparently when they first were gonna bring this to market, they were gonna bring it to market with a 2-pound trigger, but decided that that might not be a safe thing to do without a manual safety. And so they increased the trigger pull weight, but with my pull gauge, it only pulls at about 3 pounds. So let's test that right here. Yeah, that one got 3.6. I feel like it always ends up being more on video than what I get when I'm not on video, and I'm not sure why that is. There we go, 2.8. $2.6. So basically averaging under 3 pounds here. And I was getting pretty consistent 3 pounds before I filmed, but it's a nice trigger. Now it does have kind of a long take up. Not really any longer than any other striker fired gun, but you know, I don't know, it just felt like a long trigger kind of when I was shooting. But if you shoot off of the reset is pretty short and it's very tactile. And if you're paying attention to the reset, it's pretty easy to shoot this thing quickly. Now, as you can see, it's got a full rail on the full-length dust cover with a bunch of Picatinny slots. So I was able to mount a TLR-1 HL less than flush. Just to give you an idea of how big this gun is. All of my other full-size guns, this light sticks out farther than the barrel and the slide. This gun, it doesn't. It is a big gun. But as you know, big guns generally are easier to shoot well, and this is no exception to that. I had a ton of fun shooting this thing at the range today. And in fact, I was really bummed that I didn't bring more ammo. But one of the things that I do when I go shooting is I try to limit. I only bring as much ammo as I plan to shoot because I know myself. And I'll just continue to shoot until I'm out of ammo, no matter what. But this gun made me want to just keep shooting. Now, I showed you the CZ75 part being these internal slide rails. Now, why do I say it shoots like a 2011? Well, I think the weight, the size to it, and the nice, light, crisp trigger, it reminded me kind of shooting my Prodigy in many ways. The trigger feels totally different. But the lack of recoil feels a lot like a 2011. Now, why did I say it's like a baby of a 2011, a CZ, and a Glock? Well, it's just kind of boxy looking like a Glock. If you didn't know any better, you would think that this was a striker-fired gun looking at it until you realize that it's actually hammer-fired. Now, this optic, we'll get into that too, but this Holosun 507 Comp Ronin, it really makes it easy. It's got a huge window. You can choose your reticle, fits an RMR footprint, and it is just awesome. Now with this RIA 5.0E, they did things right here. It comes with a nice case and 3 17-round magazines. And they're good magazines. They're made in Italy, steel magazines. I had no problem with them. Now, the first time I tried to load them up, because these magazines were brand new and had never been used before, I couldn't get 17 rounds in them. I could only get 16 in. But once I had loaded them and shot through each magazine one time, then I could get 17 in it the next time. Now, as you can see, if you're not going to use an optic, it does have other plates to cover that up, but you do get to keep your rear sight either way. It's got a blacked out rear sight with a fiber optic front, which is my favorite pistol sighting system. And it also comes with other plates. I did not try this plate because, well, the optic I wanted to use fit the one that was already on it. But it does give you all those options in the box, which I think is pretty sweet. Let's try a little bit of distance. Remember, this is the first time I've shot this pistol. And honestly, I don't know how close my zero is on this optic, but see how she does. Okay. So we got to quickly mention hold-up displays and this new gun wall that's behind me. I'm going to do a full video on it coming later this week, so stay tuned for that. But this is sweet. I got it set up just before making this video, and I think that it really brings a new level of quality to the way that the channel looks, and so I really appreciate hold-up displays. Also, really appreciate Guffey's Gun and Pawn for loaning me this for the video. I went out and took this to the range straight from Guffey's, from my gun store. Loaded up some mags and went out there. Just shot 115 grain PMC bronze, regular range ammo. And I wanted to test it with 115 grain because normally I shoot 124 grain NATO. That's what I stock. I've got thousands of rounds of it. But for one thing, I wanted to spend some money at the gun store that was loaning me a pistol to do a video on. So I bought some ammo there and it ran it perfectly fine. Part of that, I think, it's got a pretty light recoil spring. This is very smooth, like 2011 smooth, which is another reason why I say it reminds me of a 2011. It also kind of reminds me of shooting a Shadow 2, although except for a 2011 and a Shadow 2 with a, thumb safety, you don't have to deal with the thumb safety with this. The only controls are the mag release, which you don't have to break your grip to use it. Super easy. The slide release, which again, you don't have to move your grip to use it like you do with a 2011 or with a 1911 where you kind of have to use your support hand thumb. With this thing, super easy. I think that they really put a lot of thought into the ergonomics and the shootability of this pistol. This thing, you could tell that a lot of thought went into it. The optics mounting system is great. The slide, how do I say this? The machining on this thing is very, very precise. When you compare it to something like a Glock, an M&P, whatever, striker fired gun, I mean, there is no comparison. This reminds me a lot more of like a 2011 or a Shadow 2, something that really is machined to higher tolerances and just higher quality. And you can tell that when you shoot it. This thing really was a joy to shoot. Now, it does have a different recoil impulse than most other guns that I've shot because it doesn't have that Browning tilting barrel action. This barrel does not tilt. In fact, the barrel is not even round, it's square. It's a very, very interesting gun. And like I said, internal hammer fired, not striker fired. I used to have, actually my very first pistol that I ever got was a Ruger Security 9. And it was an internal hammer fired gun. And I liked that gun, but I like this one a lot more. I'm actually really loving this thing. Let's talk about the Holosun 507 Comp Ronin for a quick second, because this optic is about the perfect optic for a gun like this. I think you either want something like this or like an SRO. It has got a huge window, which made it very, very easy, especially with a gun that recoils so little. I never lost my dot in the window. No matter how fast I was shooting, it was just easy to keep that dot on target and to transition from target to target. I think the Holosun makes the best pistol optics on the market for that price point. And I use a lot of them. I've got Holosun. I've got them. Holosun. I've got a lot of Holosuns. I'm a fan of Holosun. I think that they make great red dots. And this one especially, it's just like all my other Holosuns, but with a much bigger window and more reticle options. Most of mine just have a single dot. Well, this one has that donut of death reticle, a circle dot, segmented circle with a dot, which I think just makes it really easy to acquire targets very quickly. It makes it easy to transition from target to target. And even at distance, I felt like it was pretty easy to put it on a target, and as long as I did my part with my trigger pull, it was easy to make those hits. And honestly, I didn't even really zero it before I went to the range. This isn't my gun. I'm giving it back. This optic was brand new out of the box, though. I just mounted it and I bore sighted it, but Laser bore sights are not the most precise thing in the world. And so I bore sighted it 3 times, kind of found an average, and got relatively close. And it definitely worked for the range footage for this video. I feel like I shot pretty decently for it being my first time using this gun. I think that optics are, if you're not running optics these days, you're doing it wrong. Pistol optics are here to stay. The future is now, old man. And I mean, I don't buy pistols anymore unless I can put an optic on it. I had to mill the slide on this one for an optic. And since then, well, my 1911 doesn't have an optic. But other than that, I put optics on all of my pistols because it just makes them easier to shoot well. Of course, shooting iron sights works just fine. But you have to admit, if you've ever used a pistol optic for any period of time and you've gotten used to it, because it does have a little bit of a learning curve, it is a lot easier to be target focused. You just look at your target and you put that reticle superimposed on top of it, get a good trigger pull, and you're gonna make hits. You don't have to line up a front sight with a rear sight with a target and make your brain do the weird thing of what's gonna be blurry versus clear. You just put your reticle on the target and pull the trigger, and that makes things very easy. So I highly recommend optics, and I highly recommend this 507 Comp Ronin. Take it. One thing I can tell you about it after just shooting all those rounds relatively quickly, oh, this thing gets hot. She is hot. But I'm extremely impressed. I wish I brought more ammo with me. That was a heck of a lot of fun. Let me know down in the comments if you have used this gun, the RIA 5.0. I remember when it came out, there was kind of a big hubbub about it because it was so new and different. But I haven't really seen much about it since then. And I'm not sure why. After shooting it, I'm very impressed. I had a ton of fun shooting this thing. And I know it's not a cheap gun, and I know it's not a gun that you're going to concealed carry probably. This is a big gun to try to carry around all day, and it's relatively heavy. Not the heaviest thing in the world, but, you know, aluminum frame, full-size gun, it's going to be a hard gun to carry. But I think for something like home defense, this would be a great bedside gun. And for something, you know, just shooting at the range, as a range toy, this thing is a lot of fun. It's a very easy gun to shoot well. And I didn't even have a whole bunch of time to get used to it. My very first time out with it, I felt pretty good about the shooting that I did. Now you guys might notice my voice is still kind of gone. I'm trying to put on a good show for the camera, but I've been really sick for about a week now. And, but you know, the show must go on. And I got to put out videos on my normal schedule like I always do. And so thank you for sticking with me, even with my voice not working very well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video about the RIA 5.0E. I hope you guys like the new background. And just wait, the channel is going to get better and better. I've got a very expensive, good microphone coming soon, so the sound quality is going to get better. Yeah, we're just going to keep things improving around here at Sawtooth Tactical. So let me know what you think about all that down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.